Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while, I know. I haven't been in touch visually like this in over probably a week. You guys have been grinding away, reviewing, trying to get ready for this AP test that we have May 13th now. And I've been, you can tell by my clothing and my hair, my assortment of medals and bibs, I've been trying to get yoked in this time period of e-learning. I've been competing in races and clearly bringing home some hardware is you probably expect nothing less than that from me. So you can see behind me, I'm actually out in Boston right now, just finishing up the Boston Marathon. But I still wanted to let you guys know that I'm still thinking about you, and I want to explain to you a couple things that we got going on here coming up here for AP European History. Okay, so don't judge me by my kind of messy appearance here as I just finished the race. I got some Mr. Copeland hair going on here. I need to get some product in it, but don't judge me. Let's take a look at what we got coming up here. So. I haven't been in touch for a little while because we've kind of been just grinding along with the review project, so there really wasn't anything new for me to have to explain to you. But we're kind of at that point now where as you look at this schedule coming up here, starting on Thursday the 16th, we're going to have a little bit of a change of pace from what we're used to. Mr. Paler and myself have kind of been talking about how we want to approach these next several weeks as we lead into the AP test. So what we've kind of decided is the first half of each week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, it's going to be a little bit more of a review, whether that's review chapters like we've been doing, or potentially a review quiz that I would put in your low stakes tests. And then the second half of the week, we want to do a little bit more skill development. Remember, the AP test got moved to the 13th, and the AP test is only going to be one DBQ question. And they adjusted the rubric, so it's a 10-point rubric versus a 7-point rubric in the past. So what we want to do starting on Thursday here is we're going to give you a practice prompt. Now that DBQ, remember, went from 7 sources down to just 5 sources. The time limit also shrunk. So it went from an hour time limit to just 45 minutes. That 45 minutes also includes your reading time. Now, I put together a video that I want you guys to be sure to take a look at. It's a little bit longer, but it's going to walk you through some of the resources that we think that would be good for you to have out while you are doing not only these practice DBQs, but potentially, if they work for you, the actual DBQ itself. So let's take a look here and see what you guys are going to be doing on Thursday and Friday of this week. You're going to start off, I added this link to resources. So we're going to come to the AP Euro e-learning review folder. And this is where you've been coming regularly. We now are going to go to this DBQ writing resources. Now, what you see in here is a couple things. First of all, this is a video that I implore you to take the time to watch all the way to the end, okay? I think it's like 12 minutes long or 8 minutes long. But what it does is it goes through and in detail explains this resource for you. Now, I know that you can read it, but I think it's also good because I include some other things and some other tips for you about it. This is one of those resources that we think would be really good for you to have out. And in particular, this last sheet, this pre-writing sheet. This is where the test is different than in previous years because you can have things like this out. You won't have time to Google answers or anything like that because you only have 45 total minutes. But it is okay to have out resources like that. So watch this Marco Learning pre-writing sheet that I made for you and just take a look at it. Now, what are you going to be doing? Let's jump into the Ritchie Renaissance DBQ. So what you are going to be doing on Thursday is you're going to carve out 45 minutes of time. During that 45 minutes, you are going to simulate the DBQ environment and in writing a DBQ response. As we look, this is the question right here that you will be answering. This has been adjusted for the new time constraints. This DBQ response looks at the Renaissance, and as it says, 45 minutes, one DBQ question, and as you scroll down here, you will see there are just 5 sources that you are going to be using. Now here's the question up at the top. Evaluate whether the Renaissance was influenced primarily by Christian or by secular ideals. And that's the question that you are going to be writing on. Now, as we look at this, when you do your writing itself, you can handwrite it if you would like. Most of you, I'm assuming, though, are going to type it. Now here's where we want you to handwrite and type it. right here. If you handwrite it, you are going to open this up. There is a rubric here with a couple different directions for you. Rubric up at the top with some directions, and then you can just, in Notability or wherever you want, or if you want to just use paper and pencil, you can take a photograph of it. That's completely fine. But like I said, a majority of you, I believe, are going to instead type it. Now, here's what you are going to do, is when you are ready, and again, this is the rubric here, but when you are ready, we're going to scroll down to page number 2. You're going to move this document into Google for yourself. As it says, I want you to set a timer for 45 minutes. Here's our recommendation of how to break that 45 minutes down. You can do it however you feel. It's important to understand we're going to be grading these on completion, to be honest. We want you to practice this 45-minute limit. So there's no reason to go over. If at 45 minutes you aren't done, that's okay, stop. And just be done with it. And then just know you need to make adjustments. We are going to practice this multiple times between now and May 13th, okay? Now, some other things as it says in here is be sure that you're well versed in what the rubric is. Okay, and you may be asking yourself, okay, well, what is the rubric? What should I be doing with the rubric? Again, if we come back to these writing resources here, this Marco pre-writing sheet lays out for you what the rubric is going to look like. Remember, I also shared via Remind the PowerPoint in which we laid out for you what the varying points of that rubric are. So if we pull this back up, so you're gonna, what we suggest is to download the actual question. So to have that available to you, so you're able to write right on these, you're able to annotate right on these, just as if you would be able to if we were going to do this as a pencil and paper test. Again, understand and practice this as part of your 45 minutes, okay? And that's going to be important for you to understand. Other things to consider here. You potentially are going to want to use that Marco Learning Pre-Writing Sheet, which I think will be helpful for you. You're going to type your essay right below here in the Google document, okay? After you're finished typing your DBQ, what you are going to do at 45 minutes, you're going to stop. Now, if me and Mr. Paler were doing this together, I would then take this document with my essay below it, and I would just simply come up to the shared aspect of this, and I would share that, in this case, with Mr. Paler. So he would have a copy, and he would share his with mine as 2 students, okay? So you're going to share this with a partner, and your partner is going to share it with you. You then are going to take the one that you receive, and you are going to go through, and you are going to score it. So you're going to read theirs. You're going to look at the thesis, and you're going to either give that thesis a 1 or a 0, and then you are going to type in, be sure they have edit rights, you're going to type in your feedback for them. Remember, the better the feedback, the more useful this practice is. Same thing with contextualization. So you are going to go through and you are going to score their DBQ for them, and at the end give them a 10 out of 10. There's no point in giving them a 10 out of 10 and think that that's going to help. Again, this is only going to be graded on me and Mr. Paler's side based on completion. So you need to be sure that you're being critical with this. Meanwhile, they're doing the same thing with yours. And I think personally that the best thing to do is just FaceTime each other when you are done scoring it and talk through it with each other. Take some time and say, this is what was your thesis? This is what I gave it. This is why, and talk back and forth and bounce ideas back and forth off of each other. Okay? When you are finished, what you are going to do is you are going to take your written DBQ with the partner's name here and their critique of that, and you are going to upload this then to Schoology. And we are going to give you those completion points. Meanwhile, your partner is going to do the exact same thing. So Mr. Paler and me, the final product will be a typed 45-minute DBQ based on that Renaissance DBQ I showed you, and a partner's critique of your DBQ. Okay? That's what you are going to be uploading. Does that make sense? If not, you're going to need to let us know. Now, this is going to be due on Monday morning at 7:25. So you've got all day Thursday, all day Friday, and then Monday morning. Now on Friday, I'm going to organize a Zoom starting at 11 o'clock to 11:30. If there are plenty of other questions, I can definitely extend it, but at 11:30, if the room is empty, I'm going to close it out. That's just going to be an opportunity for you to get extra additional help on the writing of this DBQ or ask me questions. It will be on an individual basis. That's some of the new requirements that the district has come out with. I can't just dump you all into a room. You're going to enter into a waiting room, and then I will bring you in one at a time and answer those questions that you specifically have. So if you have those specific questions, 11 o'clock on Friday, Zoom meeting. I will send out and I will post the information on the daily schedule. Okay? So hope this makes sense. If you have any questions, please let me know. Have a great day.